All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. We're looking at the ocean's undisputed ruler. We're talking about a 10-ton predator packing 4-inch teeth that can easily take down great white sharks and blue whales. They literally have zero natural predators. They weigh as much as a school bus, and they completely dominate the waters of our planet.
But here's where it gets wild. Take a look at this massive zero. This represents the exact number of times this unstoppable apex predator has ever killed a human in the wild. Not a single time in recorded history. So you have to wonder, why has an animal with this much power, capability, and intelligence completely crossed us off its menu? Well, the scientific reality behind this mystery is absolutely going to change how you view the ocean.
Section 1. The ultimate apex predator. Let's unravel the grand myth surrounding the ocean's most feared creature.
To figure out why they spare us, we first need to know what they actually are. And the crazy thing is, they aren't even whales. You've obviously heard them called killer whales, but that name is literally just a historical translation error. Centuries ago, Spanish whalers saw these highly coordinated animals working together to hunt giant whales. They were terrified, and they named them asesine de ballenas, which directly translates to whale killers. But when that term hit the English-speaking world, the words accidentally got flipped around, so we were left with the terrifying but totally inaccurate name, killer whales.
In reality, they are actually the largest, most dominant members of the oceanic dolphin family. They're massive, but incredibly agile. We're talking about an animal capable of blazing through the water at 56 kilometers per hour. That is literal highway speed, underwater. It is just an awe-inspiring display of physical power.
Moving on to Section 2, Master Strategists of the Ocean. Let's look at how their tactical genius makes them the ocean's ultimate special forces.
Now, you might be wondering, why is this massive animal painted in such highly visible, high-contrast black and white? Well, it's a biological trick called countershading. It's basically nature's stealth technology. If prey looks down from above, the orca's black back blends perfectly into the pitch-black ocean depths. But if prey looks up from below, their white belly completely blends into the sunlit surface of the water. Plus, those white eye patches break up their silhouette. By the time a target actually realizes what it's looking at, it's already way too late.
And they don't just rely on stealth, right? They are incredibly smart. Take the great white shark. Terrifying to us, but to an orca, it's basically a snack. They execute this precise 3-step tactic to hunt them. Orcas have figured out a biological exploit. If you flip a shark upside down, it enters a paralyzed state called tonic immobility and slowly suffocates. So the orcas will just ram the shark, flip it over, and then surgically extract only the fatty liver. They need that liver to meet their massive 135-kilogram daily meat requirement, and they'll leave the rest of the shark completely untouched.
It gets even wilder when they go after larger game. We're talking military-style maneuvers to take down the blue whale, literally the largest animal in world history. For decades, this was just a theory, but off the coast of Australia recently, scientists actually watched orcapods take turns covering a blue whale's blowhole just to exhaust and drown it. After that, they specifically targeted its tongue. Down in Antarctica, they swim perfectly in sync to create artificial waves that just wash seals right off ice floes. And the most fascinating part of all this? These aren't raw instincts. These are specialized hunting tactics that mothers carefully teach their calves over years of instruction. Section 3. Culture, Language, and Matriarchy. This brings us to a huge paradigm shift, the emotional depth hiding behind those teeth.
To understand how they pull off these complex tactics, we really have to look at their neuroanatomy. An adult orca's brain is 4 times larger than ours. But the real kicker is the presence of spindle neurons. That's the exact same network of cells that gives humans our capacity for deep sorrow, compassion, and empathy. They also pass the mirror test with flying colors, proving they're highly self-aware. When a calf is born, it immediately learns a specific sound pattern to announce itself to the ocean. It's literally saying, hey, I am here and I belong to this family.
And just like us, they have distinct, learned cultures and languages. For example, in the Pacific, you've got resident orcas who strictly eat salmon and transient orcas who exclusively eat marine mammals. They share the exact same waters, but they completely refuse to mix. They don't mate, they don't socialize, and they don't even understand each other's vocalizations. It'd be like someone who only speaks English trying to understand someone speaking Mandarin. These habits are passed down through pure cultural imitation. They even have social fads, like they'll wear kelp on their heads just for fun, which is honestly kind of hilarious to picture. So who passes all this culture down? The grandmothers. Orcas are one of the very few species on Earth, alongside humans and chimps, that experience menopause. Around age 40, females stop having calves, but they can live for another 30 or 40 years. Because they aren't competing with their own babies for resources anymore, these matriarchs dedicate their final decades to leading the pod. Researchers actually describe them as being like offline Google Maps. They remember where the salmon are during droughts, where to hide during storms, and they vastly increase the survival rate of everyone in their pod.
Section 4. A capacity for deep grief. To truly grasp this emotional depth, we need to talk about a deeply tragic event from July of 2018.
This number 17 represents an agonizing 17 days. An orca mother named J35, also known as Tahlequah, gave birth to a calf that tragically lived for only 30 minutes. Refusing to let her baby sink, this mother balanced the 180-kilogram deceased calf on her forehead. Whenever it slipped, she dove down to retrieve it. She did this without eating, swimming for 17 straight days across 600 kilometers of open ocean.
And the thing is, she wasn't alone. The other members of her pod swam right alongside her, guarding her and supporting her. Neurologists watched this behavior and confirmed that this wasn't just instinct. It was an undeniable act of profound, unbearable mourning. It's the ultimate scientific proof that these animals experience family bonds, love, and devastating heartbreak just as deeply as we do.
Section 5. Why they spare humans. So here is the ultimate mystery. Knowing all of this, their intelligence, their hunting prowess, and how much food they need every single day, why does an animal this powerful actively choose to spare us? When we're swimming, we are slow, blind, and totally defenseless. To a great white shark, a human on a surfboard kind of looks like a seal, which is why mistakes happen. But an orca, they never make that mistake.
The answer actually comes down to their advanced biological sonar, echolocation. They don't just see with their eyes, they literally see with sound. They emit sound waves that travel through the water, penetrate objects, and bounce right back to their brain. This allows them to see straight through our skin.
So their sonar instantly tells them we are not their natural prey. It shows them we're just full of lungs and hard bones, completely lacking the nutrient-dense blubber of a seal. Now, in 1972, an orca in California actually did bite a surfer. But why? Because the bubbly, turbulent water temporarily confused its sonar. But here's the incredible part. The absolute second its teeth touched human bone, it realized its mistake and immediately let the surfer go. That is immense self-control. And those recent stories you might have seen about orcas attacking boat rudders in Europe? Marine biologists say it's just young orcas engaging in a playful cultural fact. Whenever a human actually falls off those boats, the orcas completely ignore them.
Section 6. The tragedy of captivity. Now the script flips entirely when we look at the one environment where these creatures do harm humans.
Think about it. Taking a creature built to swim 56 kilometers an hour across vast oceans and dropping it into a small concrete tank is just fundamentally catastrophic. Those concrete walls constantly bounce their own sonar right back at them, turning their enclosure into an echoing sensory torture chamber. The stress is so intense, they literally chew on the concrete, shattering their teeth, which vets then have to drill out without anesthesia. This unimaginable 34-year torment tragically drove a captive orca named Tilikum to madness, leading to the deaths of 3 people. An animal that never kills in the wild was turned into a killer through sheer human cruelty. And honestly, even in the wild today, we're threatening them with deafening commercial ship noise that ruins their sonar and toxic chemicals that destroy their immune systems.
Yet, despite all of that, out in the wild, the peace remains. Native Pacific cultures have understood their true nature for centuries. In their language, they call them Kalhalmak, which beautifully translates to relatives of the waves. They recognized long ago that these aren't mindless killers. They're deep, intelligent, socially complex kindred spirits of the sea.
So, I want to leave you with this final striking thought. As we continually pollute their waters, diminish their food supplies, and destroy their delicate acoustic ecosystems, the real mystery isn't why these massive 10-ton apex predators don't eat us. The real mystery is how, despite absolutely everything we've done to them, they still manage to maintain their peace with us. Definitely something to ponder the next time you look out at the beautiful, silent ocean. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep asking questions.